They say the dark hides many things. Some are the shadows of our own fears, the things we imagine lurking just beyond the edge of the light. But sometimes, those fears aren't imagined at all. Sometimes, the stories whispered in the dead of the night are just tales meant to scare children. Sometimes, the things that lurk in the dark are real. Creatures that hunger, that wait, that reach out with clawed fingers and razor-sharp teeth hidden in the forests between the floorboards beneath the still black waters of the river. And tonight, we step into their world. A world where an old hag with deep blue skin and jagged teeth prowls the woods, snatching children from their beds and devouring them in her cave. Where something cold, something patient, waits beneath the surface of the pond, waiting for one careless step, one foolish lean too close. You might think these are just old folk tales, that they belong to another time. But folklore is born from fear, and fear is always rooted in something real. I hope you are somewhere safe. I hope that you are not alone, because tonight we tell the story of Black Annis and Jenny Greenteeth, creatures of some of England's darkest folklore. Welcome to the still of the night. There's a name whispered in fear in the countryside of Leicestershire, a name that sends chills down the spine of those who dare to speak it after dark. That name is Black Annis, a creature lurking in the shadows, watching, waiting for the unwary, for the foolish, and for the innocent. The people of Leicester knew her well, and they feared her. She's said to live alone in the thick, tangled woods inside of a cave clawed into the side of a rocky hill with her own razor-sharp nails. They call it Black Annis Bower, a dark, damp hole in the earth littered with bones of those who had wandered too close. Because Black Annis did not simply haunt the forests, she hunted. She was not a mere ghost or a woman of flesh and blood. She was something far worse. A hag with skin as blue as twilight and claws like iron. A thing that moved with unnatural silence, her breath reeking of decay, her long teeth gnashing in hunger. And what she hungered for was children. When dusk fell over the countryside, when the light of the sun dipped below the hills, that was when she came. Her eyes, glowing in the dark, swept over the fields, the cottages, the cradles inside, and then she would creep. Her long fingers scraping against windowsills, her nose pressed against the glass, sniffing for the scent of fresh young flesh. Mothers learned to keep their children quiet as night approached. They whispered warnings as they tucked their little ones beneath the blankets. Don't cry out in the dark. Don't stray from home. Don't let Black Annis hear you. Because if she did, she would slip her bony hands through the open windows. She would snatch them up before they could scream, and then back to her lair she would go. And there, beneath the roots of the great oak tree that curled over her cave, she would feast. Flesh stripped from bone, blood soaked into the earth, the silence of the night broken only by the sound of her gnawing. And when she was done, she would take their skins, stretch them out, and wear them like trophies. A warning to the next child foolish enough to wander too far from home. For years, the people of Leicester lived in terror of Black Annis. Doors were locked, windows were sealed tight with herbs, with prayers, with anything that might keep her away. Some said she could only be warded off by iron, but only if you saw her coming. Others swore they heard her howls carried on the wind when the storms rolled in, and some never heard a sound at all. because Black Annis, with her blue skin and her gaping mouth and her hunger for flesh, was already standing in the shadows, watching and waiting, listening for the first cry of a child in the night. Some said she was a hag. Others believed she could take a different form, something even more primal, more predatory. A huge cat, sleek and black, slipping through the night with silent, deadly grace. When livestock vanished, when claw marks were found gouged into trees and doors, the whispers would begin. For centuries, the people of Leicester tried to banish her spirit in their own way. Each year, at the first break of spring, a gruesome ritual took place. A dead cat, drenched in aniseed, was dragged before a pack of hounds, leading them in the hunt from her lair in the Dane Hills all the way to the Mayor of Leicester's house. They called it Black Monday. It was a celebration of survival, a symbolic act meant to drive her back into the shadows for another year. But it never lasted. The cold always returned, and so did she. And so for this tale, I leave you with this. Tonight, when you lie in bed, listening to the wind against your window, be careful. Because if you listen closely enough, you just might hear her too. But Black Annis isn't the only thing that haunts England. No, there's another name, another legend. One that lives beneath the surface, beneath the still waters of ponds and rivers, beneath the creeping green veil of algae that floats across the top. Her name is Jenny Greenteeth. And if you get too close to the water's edge, you might never be seen again. She hides in the murky depths, her long fingers like roots tangled beneath the reeds. Her eyes, pale and clouded, peer up through the gloom, waiting for someone foolish enough to come near. Jenny Greenteeth has the patience of the dead. She does not roam the forests or lurk in windows, no, she waits in the water. And when a child or an unwary traveller steps too close, when the water laps hungrily at their toes, she strikes. Her fingers snap around an ankle, a wrist, whatever she can grab hold of. A single, sharp pull, and suddenly the world above you vanishes. Down, down you go, dragged beneath the water's surface. Your fingers clawing at the silt, your eyes wide with terror staring into the rotting, moss-covered face of the thing that has you now. Her lips peel back, revealing rows of jagged yellow teeth. A grin that stretches too wide. Breath, cold as the grave, bubbles in the water. And then, silence. Because Jenny Greenteeth does not let go. All locals knew this. They warned their children, they passed on the messages when family and friends came to stay. Stay away from the water. Do not go near the pond. Don't lean too far over the well. But some didn't listen, and when the water settled, when the ripples faded and the mist rolled in across the surface, she was gone, and so were they. So next time you find yourself near the water's edge, be very, very careful. Because sometimes when you look down into the dark, cold depths, something might be looking back. And that brings us to the end of tonight's stories. Legends like Black Annis and Jenny Greenteeth have whispered through the centuries. Warnings passed down to keep people safe. Or perhaps just to remind us that the things that we fear in the dark might not be just stories after all. If you are drawn to the eerie, the unexplained, and the truly terrifying, make sure to subscribe for more paranormal stories and true crime cases. Here, at the Still of the Night, we explore the darkest corners of folklore, hauntings, and true crime, where nightmares and reality blur. New episodes are coming filled with more chilling tales of the unknown, so turn off the lights and join me again if you dare.